I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice. Let us begin. You keep telling yourself you've fallen behind. You replay decisions like mistakes. You scroll through other people's timelines like maps. You hear a voice that says, "You should be farther than this by now." But what if that voice is wrong? What if the confusion you're in, the disorientation, the doubt, the lack of drive, isn't failure? What if it's the beginning of something far more honest? Because this isn't stagnation. It's initiation. You're not being punished, you're being disarmed. Everything that no longer fits, the ambitions, the expectations, the masks, is falling away. And what you're left with is silence. Not because there's nothing inside you, but because there's finally enough space to hear what's real. This video is not a motivational speech, it's a rite. You will not leave here fixed, you will leave here witnessed. And by the end, you'll understand why your life had to fall apart exactly like this, and why what comes next isn't a rebuild, it's a return. The part of you that's collapsing right now, it was never built to last. It was crafted from survival, not truth. It was shaped by pleasing, performing, over-functioning, shrinking. It was the version of you that knew how to chase, achieve, and adapt. But that self is tired. You've outgrown the rewards it brought. You can't pretend it fits anymore. The drive doesn't drive, the goals don't glow, the old ambitions ring hollow. And so, it crumbles. First the clarity, then the confidence, then the identity itself. You don't recognize your own reflection. You can't answer the question, "What do you want?" Because every answer you used to give came from a self you've now outlived. This is the descent. Not into failure, into the parts of you that no longer perform. Into the stillness that doesn't shout. Into the grief you didn't have time to feel. Into the quiet reality that you no longer want the life you thought you were chasing. And in the next section, you'll meet the archetype rising beneath the collapse. The part of you that already knows how to walk through this, without trying to fix it. This is where the old self goes silent, and something older steps forward. The archetype isn't a voice in your head, it's a presence that emerges when your performance ends. You can call it the initiate, the mirror, the one who remembers. It doesn't offer certainty. It offers contact. It reminds you, the confusion you're in isn't random, it's ritual. The doubt is part of the door. The pause is part of the path. You were never meant to skip this part. Every myth has it. The dark forest, the belly of the whale, the desert with no map. This is yours. You don't need to run. You don't need to rebuild. You need to stay, long enough for the real signal to rise. And when it does, it won't come from pressure. It will come from pulse. This is the initiation. And next, you'll feel it, not as an idea, but as a shift, a knowing that returns without explanation, without urgency, and without apology. Something softens. Not everything makes sense, but something feels real. You stop needing to explain your confusion. You stop performing clarity. You stop measuring your worth by your progress. Instead, you sit. You breathe. You wait for the voice that doesn't beg to be heard. And it comes. Not loud, not poetic, but real. It says, "You are not late. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are between. Between versions. Between stories. between selves. And that space, the space you've been trying to rush through, is sacred. Because in that space, everything false falls away, and what returns is yours. Not the dream they gave you, not the life you built to survive, but the self that's finally telling the truth. No more pretending, no more performing, no more postponing your own clarity in the name of being liked, chosen, or understood. From here, you do not go back. You begin. And in the final section, you'll feel what it means to walk forward, not with a plan, but with presence. Not as a project, but as a person who remembers. You're not waiting anymore. You're listening. You're not chasing anymore. You're allowing. And you're not hiding anymore. You're becoming visible to yourself. This is what it means to be initiated. Not that you're certain, but that you're real. Not that you're fixed, but that you're no longer trying to prove you were never broken. You return not with answers, but with space, with breath, with a pulse that finally feels like yours. You didn't fall behind. You stepped outside of the life that was never built for your soul. And now, you begin. You did not find me by accident. Just as in your dreams, where every face you meet is your own reflection, this meeting was always waiting to happen. I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice, the part of you that watches behind the thoughts, behind the noise. You have searched in many places, books, teachers, voices outside you. But here, you are not being taught. You are remembering. If these words stir something familiar, then allow yourself to return. Subscribe. Follow. Not to follow me, but to continue this conversation with yourself. Each time you return here, you draw closer to the reunion already unfolding inside you. We have only just begun.